up, guys? Gannon here, back with another Star Trek Discovery review. Today we are going to be reviewing Episode 8 of Season 3, titled The Sanctuary. And you might notice I'm doing this review a little bit later than usual, and I usually like to get my reviews out a little quicker than this, but I've had a pretty bad case of seasonal depression right now. I'm lacking some motivation to get things done, and as you'll see in this review, I wasn't super passionate about this episode whatsoever. I don't know if it's just the fact that I'm depressed or the fact that we got way too many things going on in this episode with very little substance as the outcome. This episode didn't really make me feel much. I wasn't super entertained or even really excited about what was going on. Some things I would quickly like to address, though. I thought that Discovery was going to be like 16 episodes this season, but I quickly realized just the other day that this will be a 13 episode season, leaving only 5 episodes left, which leads me to kind of like really question where they're going with all this shit, but I'll get into that a little bit later. I've also noticed that I might have mistakenly said a couple times in my previous reviews that they're currently in the 31st century, but that's just me confusing myself. I know that they're in the 32nd century. And then lastly, I would like to say that in a previous review, while stating a grossly oversimplified synopsis of Season 1, I said that Michael Burnham started the Klingon War, and a couple of people got really salty at this. Guys, I do realize that it was T'Kuvma and the Klingons' intentions from the very beginning to start a conflict with the Federation. But Michael Burnham was a huge perpetrator of the war, and if anything, messed things up so bad, to the point where it's basically her own fault that the war got as bad as it did. Of course, the Klingons were, like, looking for a fight. They were looking to beef with the Federation, so some sort of conflict was inevitable. But just keep in mind that Michael Burnham foolishly killed that Klingon outside of the fucking cemetery ship, which gave T'Kuvma and a Klingon's perfect excuse to start beefing with the Federation. And then, to combat the Klingons and try to save the day, she disobeyed Chain of Command and used her Vulcan hello in order to intimidate the Klingons into respecting the Federation in some manner. Then she got locked up, and then at the end of the day, after she kind of like fucks up everything, she goes over to T'Kuvma's ship, and then after T'Kuvma kills her captain, she couldn't even really keep her captain safe, which is the responsibility of a commander. I think this did piss off a commenter when I said this, and I wanted to reply to him, but if there's any hint of like negativity or anything a little bit weird about a YouTube comment, YouTube just kind of likes to block comments, even from me. I set my comments to all, like, I don't have any filters on my comments. I want to read all comments. I set no filters on them. Comments that are supposed to be filtered by YouTube go to this, like, filtered section where I could read them. YouTube straight up just hides comments for me to the point where I can't see them. Like, sometimes I'll get a notification and I'll see, like, the first sentence of a comment, and I'll click on it, and it will take me to the video. The comment just won't be there, and won't be in any of my, like, user menus or anything. I just can't fucking see the comment. It pisses me off all the time. I have a friend in my Discord who comments on my YouTube videos all the time, and it almost seems like he's fucking blacklisted because more than half of his comments just are disappeared, and I can't see, which is totally fucking stupid. I feel like YouTube owes me that much to the point where I can actually see my comments. But yeah, after all that, she killed T'Kuvma in a fit of rage and turned him into a martyr, which is like they specifically said they were trying to avoid that. Okay, so Michael did mess up and do a lot of fuckboy shit that day and definitely perpetrated the war and made it as worse as it was. Yes, I will concede she didn't start the Klingon War. I mean, she low-key did start it, right? She did start it, but at the end of the day, it was the Klingons' intention to start the war. Alright, now to get into the review, and I might not be as analytical as I am in other reviews because this one is already a little bit late. I'm not super passionate about this episode, and I still want to have fun reviewing it. Like, I don't want to treat this like some homework assignment that I don't want to do and just be miserable, so I kind of want to have fun, so I'm just gonna be a little bit candid here and talk about the episode how I want to talk about it. In this episode, we learn from Booker's brother that Osira is fucking with Book's home planet of Quayshawn. Basically, Osira and the Orion Syndicate get in the habit of traveling to pre-warp societies and arranging deals with them in order to kind of trap them and get them under her rule and exploitation. In the case of Booker's home planet, there's this infestation of sea locusts that came up and ate their harvest and caused famine. Osira basically offered them repellent to keep them at bay so that she could take advantage of Quayshawn. So Burnham actually gets the bright idea to ask Admiral Vance for permission to assist this time around. Admiral Vance tells Discovery to be very careful and to leave at the first sign of danger, which they totally do not do. We're introduced to Osira in this episode, and she was referenced in an earlier episode, Scavengers. And I gotta say, besides her villainous actions and malicious behavior, she isn't really all that much of a threatening villainous character. If anything, I'm just left questioning what the fuck is up with, like, how the Orions look. I enjoyed how the previous Orions looked, but now that we have Osira, this female Orion character, she looks absolutely fucking weird. Like, it's actually weirding me out. She looks like a female Jolly Green Giant, and it's really weird just how plastic and prosthetic her face is feeling and looking. Like, her mouth will move, but her face is just totally stiff and blank with expression. It's a little bit strange. I don't know if that's like what they're going for. In the past, the Orions have literally just basically been humans that are painted green, but now it seems like these people actually got some shit on their faces. Like, their faces are a little bit thick, stale, plasticky. It's kind of making me green. They get to the planet and Book quarrels with his brother Kahim, who for some reason is Hispanic and has a thick accent, which is like, what in the hell is going on with that? Am I supposed to just kind of accept the fact that Booker, who is a black British guy, is brothers with a Hispanic guy with a thick Spanish accent without so much as an explanation? Like, we're just gonna sit here and act like, okay, that's like what happens. I think that's one of my biggest beefs with this episode, is that Book's home planet was referenced literally from the first episode, and now that they're here visiting it, it just seems a bit rushed. And with all these other story components overlapping with each other, with Rin the Andorian, we learn in this episode that Rin is the only one who actually knows that the Orion Syndicate is a bit vulnerable and that they're low on dilithium. Giorgio's seizures and relapse of repressed memory is killing her, perhaps by design. Maybe these are important memories that she isn't meant to dig up, but for some reason, her interaction with the mysterious bloke from the Starfleet debriefing has got her acting like this, and that gets me thinking, like, where is that guy? Where the hell is that dude from the first episode who held up the flag with Michael? I feel like those are both characters deserving of some screen time, and that they should probably be touched upon more. Also, Quayshan is a pre-warp capable planet that has a planetary defense system, which, you know, totally makes sense. Adira becomes an explicitly non-binary character in this episode, which I'm sure the LGBTQ plus viewers are really happy to see. I really do love Adira and Stamets' relationship. I think that they make a great pair, and it's really just sweet to see their interactions. There comes a point in this episode where Osira is literally attacking Quayshan, and Discovery had to respond, but because of strict orders from Admiral Vance that they shouldn't intervene, they get the bright idea of having Detmer and Rin attack Osira's ship in Book's ship, which is kind of crazy how Book's ship is able to deal with Osira's ship as well as it did, considering it's probably one of her flagships, and they even comment about how much firepower it has. Osira is also the damn leader of the entire Emerald Chain, and after doing a bit of damage to her ship, she retreats, but not before saying that she'll have revenge on the entirety of the damn Federation. So now the Discovery crew has managed to create some bad blood here. The episode ends with Booker expressing that he actually wants to join the Federation, and like all their efforts of unifying these planets and like doing good humanitarian acts, which is really nice and cool and all, but Book's backstory and affiliation with his home planet, I feel like, was really not well done in this episode. I wish it could have been better, a little bit more fleshed out. I just feel so neutral about Booker, and I neither entirely like him or dislike him. Like, at this point, I really just don't know what to feel about Book's character. I mean, he is kind of a little bit funny, he fights, he's a love interest to Michael Burnham, but his backstory, now that we've actually visited his planet, just kind of seems dry and stale because of all this other shit going on, and they really couldn't focus on Quayshan or really what was going on there, because, you know, it was just getting fucking shot up the whole time, and Book's brother was trying to, like, turn him in and kick his ass. But with all that being said, I apologize in advance if this review wasn't the best. Like I said, I didn't want it to feel like a homework assignment. If you could hear any ambient noise in the background, it's my cringy ass retarded neighbors that I really don't like that much. They're having a little bit of a function right now. I legitimately give this episode like a 5. I really deadass would have given it a 4 if not for the fact that I got to see some doctoring from Dr. Culber, which in my professional opinion, he's not done nearly enough doctoring to keep me content. I know Discovery's way of telling the story is a bit more fast-paced than previous Treks, but all the other Trek doctors literally did hella doctoring, and they even got their own doctor-centric episodes. I really would like to see something like that for Dr. Culber, as he's probably in my top 5 favorite Discovery characters. I don't know why this episode rubbed me in the wrong way. I just felt like it was kind of rushed and poorly executed. Maybe it's just my wintertime depression funk or something, but this episode just really didn't do it for me. But even while recording this review, I'm highly optimistic for the rest of the season. We only have 5 episodes left, and I'm a little bit worried about what they're going to choose to do to wrap it up. Who's going to be the huge main villains? What's going to be the fate of the crew and the Federation? What's the deal with the burn? And what are we going to be left with that's going to transition us into Season 4? But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching another one of my Discovery reviews. If you have anything that you'd like to share with me, please leave it down in the comments below. I will be sure to get back to it, as long as YouTube actually allows me to see the comments, which, you know, sometimes it doesn't do. But yeah, all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Live long and prosper, and I'm going to have to see you in the next one.